Well, thank you very much for giving me this platform, because I think that it's very important that other views other than the really strong prevailing consensus, especially in this country, they need to be challenged. And they need to be challenged from several perspectives. And in a way, I've just been given a way in to challenge exactly those perspectives. And they chime so well with the talking points that I had prepared that I'm actually going to address those points and what were called the delusions, one by one. The first is that I think that the premise of the war, what drove Russia to invade Ukraine, and I will say at the outset that I think that the invasion of Ukraine was totally, totally wrong. But the reasons have, I think, been completely misinterpreted, and including from this platform already, that the reason is basically Russia's and Putin's great power complex, that Russia can only continue or be restored as a great power if it reincorporates Ukraine, and that what Russia wants is, and Putin wants, is the end of Ukrainian sovereignty or even the end of Ukraine itself. Now, my response to that is to say, okay, fine, but what was Putin doing from 2000, when he became president of Russia, until 2022, when the invasion happened? And the answer was that until 2014, Ukraine had enshrined in its post-Soviet constitution that it was a neutral country. It was when that neutrality was dropped, and that happened in 2014, and it was courted very aggressively by both the European Union and NATO from that year onwards, in fact from 2013. And that the rationale, Putin's rationale for the invasion was not a great power complex. It was about Russia's security. And Russia saw its security threatened, not just by the advance, as it saw it, of NATO towards its own border, but the use that Ukraine's westward orientation was being put by the West, specifically by the United States and NATO, which was to install Western military, it was training and equipment and advisors in Ukraine, which Russia saw as an existential threat. And that means when we get on to the discussion of Russia won't negotiate, Russia will negotiate, but it will negotiate from a premise that its security is at risk, that it wants security guarantees. And it's all very well for Ukraine to say it won't stop the war without security guarantees from the West. But the war will not stop, from Russia's point of view, without Russia getting security guarantees. And I know that people laugh and they say, no, Russia is this huge, strong country. It's a great power. It's a superpower. Russia is a weak country. It's a country that has been shorn of the empire it had under the Soviet Union, under the empire. It is fearful, and fear is a much greater motivation of what seems like a ridiculous project of invading the neighbouring country. Fear is a much stronger motivation than any sort of great power ambition. And that's what has to be addressed in any negotiations and any solution to this. Do you want to, is that the end of that?
Okay.